Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan, MS Pearce. This is a US politics special where I'm just going to talk about this ongoing spat between Elon Musk and indeed with Vivek Ramaswamy. These two guys, these billionaires or close to, in Ramaswamy's case, I don't know if he is a billionaire, but very rich on the back of the story of how Ramaswamy got his money is highly controversial on the back of a dementia drug that failed 4 times. He repackaged it, sold it, and then got out and made loads of money off repackaging it. Anyway, that aside, these two very rich people at the center of the White House, unelected oligarchs who helped Trump get elected, particularly Musk with the sheer volume of money he gave to the campaign and a platform of Twitter, who've got Trump elected broadly on an agenda of being anti-illegal immigration and anti-legal immigration, trying to lower legal immigration as well. The election was won, and then both of them have come out in support of visas, particularly in their industries, for workers from outside the US, and that has absolutely enraged some of the MAGA base, and this is causing a bit of a ruckus and huge tension, perhaps civil war already in the Republican right before the inauguration. Fascinating to watch, popcorn in hand. Let's just go to the beginning. And then we'll look at what's been happening since the beginning. So Brian Tyler Cohen does a good job of summarizing the initial events.
Elon Musk's honeymoon in the Trump administration seems to have ended before the administration has officially begun. So while most of us were celebrating the holidays, Elon has been waging a fight with the very people whose voices he spent months elevating. He's been publicly advocating for offering more visas to highly skilled foreign workers via the H-1B program, and he tweeted stuff like this: "I am referring to bringing in via legal immigration the top 0.1% of engineering talent as being essential for America to keep winning."
Let's pay attention to that 0.1% that he has advocated for, because Laura Loomer, with whom he has much of this fight, has pointed out that actually that does not refer to the employment behavior that he has been responsible for at Tesla.
The number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the USA is far too low. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. That enables the whole team to win. He was back.
And by the way, personally, I'm not for or particularly against that visa arrangement. I think the visa arrangement is more problematic than people think, in terms of it creates slightly lower waged indentured servants by all accounts. But the principle of taking in the right people for your economy from outside your country isn't too controversial, and I'm not too against that. So I'm not really against what Musk is saying to some degree. But what's interesting is it's not about me. It doesn't matter what I think. It's what the MAGA base thought, what they voted for, and what they thought of Musk and what Musk was doing, and how the MAGA right and the tech right seem to now be attacking each other. And whether what Musk is saying represents a double standard.
Up by his Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE co-chair Vivek Ramaswamy, who tweeted, "A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers." Well, I'm sure you can imagine how that went over with Trump's America First base. Matt Gaetz, for example, tweeted, "We welcomed the tech bros when they came running our way to avoid the 3rd grade teacher picking their kid's gender and the obvious Biden-Harris economic decline. We did not ask them to engineer an immigration policy." Ann Coulter chimed in, "American workers can leave a company, imported H-1B workers can't. Tech wants indentured servants, not high-skilled workers." Laura Loomer, who would ultimately have her Twitter verification stripped away by Elon over this argument, wrote, "Vivek Ramaswamy knows that the Great Replacement is real, so does J.D. Vance. It's not racist against Indians to want the original MAGA policies I voted for. I voted for a reduction in H-1B visas, not an extension. And I would happily say it to their face because there's nothing inflammatory about what I said. Everything I said is true. If India was so high-skilled, people would stay there instead of flocking to the US. You're not going to shame me into tempering my thoughts. I really am past the point of giving a fuck. The tech billionaires don't just get to walk inside Mar-a-Lago and stroke their massive checkbooks and rewrite our immigration policies so they can have unlimited slave laborers from India and China who never assimilate. Then Elon saw that and started fighting back, tweeting stuff like this. The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. Take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend.
Okay, let's leave it there. So you can understand what's happening here. And Laura Loomer, fascinatingly, was part of the Trump inner circle for some time before it was kind of exposed exactly who she was. And then she was on the plane going from rally to rally with Trump. Trump was a big fan of hers. And then they kind of had to forcibly distance them for PR reasons. But she is kind of a representation of that MAGA right within that inner circle, anti-immigrant. I mean, she's a far right personality that I have absolutely no time for. But some of the things that she says about Musk are absolutely on point, and what she does a good job of is exposing the double standards of Musk. And we'll look at some of this now. So first of all, Laura Loomer points out that Elon Musk has hired non-American citizens for entry-level roles, not just the top 0.1%, using a database that lists the salaries of his H-1B visa holders. Laura Loomer says, hey, Elon Musk, you're telling me that 70K per year entry-level jobs are 0.1% level talent, and she lists literally the people there. Fascinating to see this unfold. And then she's got more and more involved in this argument very, very personally. Then Elon Musk says, Loomer is trolling for attention. I ignore. She says, telling the truth isn't trolling. Read the room, Musk. You bought your way into MAGA 5 minutes ago after Trump almost had his head blown off in Butler. Remember when you voted for Biden and propped up Ron DeSantis and you said Trump was too old? We all know you only donated your money so you can influence immigration policy and protect your buddy Xi Jinping. So this is fascinating. I broadly agree that he wants to make money out of his position as at the center of the White House, unelected oligarch. He is, I think, a pawn of Xi Jinping, and some of what he wants to do will benefit Xi Jinping. We've seen the budget change, and we've seen the stripping out of things that would have been harsh for investment into China, that allows now investment into China in a kind of way that Musk would want. That happened, and we've not even reached January the 20th. He's already having this effect on the budget of the United States. Absolutely incredible. And then, people who are big fans of Musk have come to his aid, such as Ian Miles Chong and Laura Loomer, then attacking him. So you've got this infighting. The question is this just a Twitter thing? Is this something that's happening on the edges of the political discourse in certain areas online? Or is actually this going to bubble over into general discourse? Well, this is now being reported on all the mainstream media outlets, or at least all the more critical ones of Trump. I don't know how Fox are reporting this, but it is fascinating to see that actually a lot of people who aren't just your online people are getting involved. And although they are getting involved online largely, but people like Matt Gaetz and Charlie Kirk, okay, fairly online, and Steve Bannon, a lot of online presence, but he's a major player, are all getting involved on one side or the other. And this does seem like a bit of a civil war, except, I say on one side or the other, most people are coming out against Musk. Interestingly, Trump has come out for Musk. And that is fascinating in itself. So lots to do with sort of Laura Loomer here and her arguments against Musk at the moment. A few more things to possibly point out from what she said. Arguing here about the 70K a year and whether that represents the 0.1%. And then Laura Loomer says, well, I guess I won because I got all of your big tech buddies who are trying to infiltrate the White House to respond and expose yourselves as being in opposition to MAGA immigration policy. Thank you for telling the whole world that everyone who speaks out against about H-1B visa foreigners taking jobs from Americans is an attention-seeking troll. P.S. You're still not our president. The real president knows H-1B visas are bad for America, and the real president is from this country. Ouch. But interestingly, the real president, i.e. Donald Trump, has towed the Muskian line on this party line. That's interesting. So we'll get to that in a second. I find this this to me sums it all up. And this is someone on Newsmax that then triggers the Newsmax host at the end. I'd love this interview to have gone on a little bit longer to see exactly what she, as in on this excerpt, to see what she actually said, because she couldn't handle this and then started going off on one in a different direction.
Donald Trump did not oppose the NDAA because Elon Musk did not oppose the NDAA.
By the way, just to let you know, Newsmax is like one of these new upstart news organizations like OAN. OAN and Newsmax are further to the right than Fox. So this is a right-wing news outlet platforming a guy who is saying exactly the right things about Musk. I mean, you know, it's a weird day when you find yourself like nodding your head when Laura Loomer says a couple of things, and you're like, yeah, I can see why you're saying that. And then some of these other people that I'd otherwise be utterly unaligned with.
Even though the Pentagon has failed 6 or 7 audits in a row. Why? Because Elon Musk gets paid from the national defense budget. So he didn't care about government efficiency at the Pentagon, right? He only cared about government efficiency with the continuing resolution bill that passed to fund the government. Why? Because he stripped out portions that would have made it more difficult to invest in China. And
there
I don't
you go.
know if you know this, but China restricted 2 rare earth elements that our military relies upon, only one of which it actually has a supply of right now in reserve. And they did that because of Donald Trump's impending trade war. They're already firing shots, even though Donald Trump can't actually make a tariff right now already. So Elon Musk is weakening our national defense, right, by encouraging investment into a country that is trying.
Sorry, this guy actually is from Occupy Democrats. So Newsmax has actually got on a far left winger here. I got that one wrong.
To weaken our national defense. But on the other hand, he is opposing spending that helps Americans. So I think that letting Elon Musk set the spending priorities for the government makes him more than the president. He's like the super president of the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is going to control all 3 branches of government in the upcoming year. So we're going to find out who's really in charge.
Because our country is in a...
So thank goodness our country is in. So she takes that idea of like the Republicans taking over, doesn't deal at all with what he actually says about Elon Musk changing things with regard to, for the benefit of China with regard to the budget. So Karen Piper here says, it's interesting that MAGA influencers have been violating Twitter's terms of service for a long time, and Elon Musk has been letting them get away with it, probably to help Trump win the election. Today, Elon got annoyed and cancelled the whole crew. Now he's royally despised by them. So what happened with Laura Loomer and these other people that came out in support of Laura Loomer, like Conservative OG and other online Twitter handles, is he cancelled them or restricted their access. And it's absolutely incredible because he claimed he was a free speech absolutist. And then I've always said to you, he's not, and he will shut down anyone who's a critic of him. And this has shown exactly this. He is not anyone that thinks Musk gives a damn about free speech doesn't know Elon Musk. And he's shown his true colours here by shutting down people who are critics of him. I've been listening to the affiliates of Conservative OG, says Piper, who lost their blue checks. Mostly they are just screaming at each other about whether or not Laura Loomer doxed someone. Alex Jones' partner Owen Schroyer lost his blue check. White nationalist Nick Fuentes mansplained how they all got used by Elon. His voice is like fingernails on a chalkboard. Fuentes eventually dominates the conversation. Charles Johnson offers to pay his legal fees, and this is a bit of Twitter space. But Conservative OG talked about his website where his affiliates work. So what is that? His profile lists a PAC website, not a company. In the fine print, it does talk about affiliates of this super PAC, but not the company he mentioned. Conservative PAC is a small PAC based in Atlanta. All of its money comes from the LLC in Wyoming, and this looks like the founder, Gregory Disser. He also he's also part of the company Connect Social and now it starts to fall into place. This is a media marketing company posing as a PAC, which Elon Musk has been platforming to help Trump get elected. It's tied to Alex Jones. The content they push is paid media with paid influencers. Bottom line, Elon Musk let paid Trump influencers manipulate reach on Twitter, violating Twitter's terms of service until they piss them off today. You can figure out who is working for Greg Disser, conservative OG, by looking for anyone who lost their blue check today. But you don't really need to know the ins and outs of that. It's that Musk has allowed people to break the rules of Twitter until it suits him to get rid of them. And people who start criticizing him, he shuts them down. So Laura Loomer, I think, lost her check or had some kind of sort of suspension, or she had her profile restricted in some ways, which is Musk saying, I don't like what you're saying, I'm going to censor you or stop you having the reach that you previously did, which is entirely against his free speech absolutist positioning. Now, Pekka Kallianiemi says it's quite revealing that this is a so-called free speech platform. You can praise Hitler, spread lies, use bots, threaten others with violence, and even post CSAM. However, the moment you criticize Elon's businesses, you immediately are suspended and flagged as a spam account. Lots of people showing how their accounts have been restricted as a result of these criticisms. So how it started, how it's going. So Trump, this is OAN here, Musk will put America first before his own companies. And then Mediaite saying Elon Musk endorses post suggesting Americans are too retarded to do skilled jobs. Musk calls MAGA element contemptible fools as virtual civil war brews. And it's incredible how it's all changing, with Elon Musk now calling these MAGA people who have criticized him subtards. And there's another speech that he endorsed that basically shows that he has contempt for the MAGA right. And that's really interesting because, you know, if you remember back when Hillary Clinton called people basket of deplorables, MAGA was like, oh my God, absolutely mental. And Elon just randomly calls them all subtards, and everyone's like, okay, Elon. Although there is this big explosion in the community. And then Elon, of course, as we heard from Brian Tyler Cohen, telling someone to go and F themselves in their face. And you're thinking, God, this is a guy at the center of the government who's making swinging $2 trillion cuts, supposedly. And this is how he is. It's just incredible. But then, you know, he shuts down a post from an account that no longer exists. He shuts down this account of someone who was spreading what he saw was a lie about him, so on and so forth. I think it was a fake post from an Elon Musk parody or something. But anyway, free speech absolutism is not absolute. So it's all about these H-1B visas, right? And Tesla has emerged as the top employer of H-1B visa holders, according to this Forbes article from December the 12th. That's just recently. Tesla, headed by Elon Musk, was among the leading employers of new foreign-born visa holders. Now, you can see why Elon Musk is going to be very keen to keep that visa provision in place and advocate for foreign-born workers to come and work in the US, which is again against the kind of platform or the agenda that MAGA was campaigning on, that Trump was campaigning on. Ron Filikowski from the Midas Touch Network says Elon is just saying what every other Republican employer is about to say in 2025. Deport everyone else's employees, but not mine because I really need them. So just to rewind, I showed you a clip from a farmer from South Dakota who voted for Trump, but himself employed, and we're talking illegal migrants here, or immigrants. He employed illegal immigrants and was saying, well, I voted for Trump, but I don't think he's actually going to do anything about this, because if he did, the food industry would stop within 3 days. As a farmer, I absolutely need illegal immigrants. So so whether you're talking about illegal immigration or legal immigration, you are going to have a massive effect on constraining either of those on the economy, right? And you've got farmers, you've got food processors, you've got care work establishments, you've got horticultural establishments, you've got tech establishments saying, hang on, you know, if Trump goes through with this, then that is going to screw us over. So each of these people within the MAGA sphere will be arguing, here it says each Republican employer will be arguing that their own little domain should be protected, should be offered exemptions from these swinging restrictions that are going to take place. And of course, you know, if that's applied to everyone, then you're back to exactly where we are now, which is, okay, we're allowing illegal immigration because it underwrites economic growth. And yeah, I think Filikowski is absolutely right. You are going to get every Republican employer coming out saying, hey, I should have an exemption. Now, when we go back to the H-1B visas, this is what Donald Trump previously has said.
The H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. I
love the fact he gets clapped on this, and this is going back some years, but like, yeah, well done for using something that's really bad and shouldn't really exist, but well done for using it because you're a businessman taking advantage of workers. So the idea is that actually it gives lower wages than it should, and it makes almost indentured slaves. That's the argument, and he's kind of making that, saying, I use it, we shouldn't use it, it shouldn't be allowed, it's very, very bad and unfair to workers. That's what he has said.
They're waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it. The H-1.
We should end it. That was his argument. And of course, you know, he's now supported Musk because, I mean, this is a difficult position for Trump because he's not yet been inaugurated. He knows very well, because people are telling him, he's come out and said, hey, there's no problem. He can't be president anyway because he is not born in the UK, in the US. Sorry, family around the house intermission there. So the challenge for Trump is that he, as a leader, has his agenda being voted on and coming into power, but then the reality of running a country which has an economy that he needs to keep afloat will mean that his agenda sometimes, and this is the same with all politicians, incoming administrations, your agenda might come up against reality or might come up against other objectives. So the objective here would be a growing economy, coming up against the agenda of getting rid of illegal migrants and constraining legal migration, which will have an effect on the economy, right? And so, you know, what gives there? Now here we've heard him say before that these visas are very, very bad and unfair for workers, and now he's saying he's changed his mind. But has he changed his mind in light of the economic situation, although he might use that as a reason, or is it really because he can't come up against Elon Musk? There will be this situation, and it's sort of been tested now with this topic, but there will be a situation either before the 20th or soon after where Musk and Trump are going to come at loggerheads with each other, and something's going to have to give. The problem for Trump is that Musk is insanely powerful. He's the richest man in the world, but he also owns a platform that can amplify his views, and it can de-amplify Trump. So he can code it so Trump's views don't get out there much. He can ban Trump or whatever, but then there might be a kickback against Musk. And so you've got all of these ideas mixing around at the moment, and we're I guess yet to see who will triumph. Will the most powerful man in the world in terms of money and wealth and satellites and companies in the middle of the White House, will he hold more sway than Trump, or will Trump be able to offload Musk? And if that happens, will Trump lose some platform? Will he lose a lot of his tech bro followers? Fascinating, and as I say, this is really testing the situation at the moment, because here let's look at Steve Bannon. So Steve Bannon is one of these people who have been right behind Trump. Yeah, there was a little bit of a wobble where he ended up leaving the administration previously. He's been in trouble with the law. He's come back, and here he is talking about Elon Musk.
Crony capitalism, Elon Musk. And by the way, when we cut him off, he went begging He went begging the CCP, and that's why they have the joint venture in Shanghai, the Tesla, which is 100% of his value, right? This guy lives on government contracts and taxpayer subsidies, okay? It's all, we're going to get Joe Allen in here for a second to transform it. Elon.
So bear in mind, this guy's saying exactly what the Occupy Democrats guy was saying. The criticism against Musk are coming from the left, and it appears from the right, and they are to do with being a tool of the Chinese.
Musk, once again, brother, I'm smart enough to tell you no to your face, and I'm evil enough to be able to expose you as a running dog for the greatest enemy this nation's ever had. You're a war profiteer. You're sleeping with the enemy, brother, and you've been doing it because you're not an American nationalist. You're not even an American. All you are is a globalist, okay? A globalist. And you will go where anybody writes you a check, and you would take it from Adolf Hitler himself, because you're taking it from people that are as bad as Adolf Hitler. The murderous regime of the Chinese Communist Party, which you praised on their 100th anniversary. Let me bring it.
So that's a really stinging rebuke from Steve Bannon here. And here we hear Steve Bannon back in March 2023 say kind of similar things about Elon Musk.
I think until Elon Musk starts letting back on the most the true anti-CCP people that he keeps blocked off there, myself included. Not that I want to go on there. Oh yeah, no. He's owned by the Chinese Communist Party. What are you talking about? Tesla, his only thing of real value is Tesla. He uses it for margin loans. He sells the stock. The Shanghai joint venture is 100% controlled by the CCP. This is why he never goes after the CCP. This is why he always backs off. This is when they had the protest. They had the protest about the lockdowns of COVID. He will not do it. Elon Musk is a total and complete phony. He is in bed in a business partner. He's done some good stuff, letting stuff out, with Taibbi and others. It's fine. But he is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Chinese Communist Party, and he acts like it.
And this is what I was talking about yesterday with regard to Starlink. You won't see Starlink get into the hands of the Taiwanese because of the Chinese. And actually, Steve Bannon, and I despise Steve Bannon, but he's absolutely right there. And the man is compromised. That is, Elon Musk is compromised. And in direct answer to this spat that's going on, when Elon Musk said, "Go and F yourself," in the face, Steve Bannon then said, "Someone please notify Child Protective Services, need to do a wellness check on this toddler." Wow. So this is now escalatory in my books. You are seeing the right eat itself, the tech right against the MAGA right, and Charlie Kirk, part of the MAGA right, fires back at Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy.
This is a violation of our social contract. And it sounds good. Let's just let more H-1B workers in. But what about the 23-year-old that went to University of Washington and studied computer science at the UW Computer Science Department? Shouldn't he be given preference above someone who could do the work for far less? It is about priorities, and it's not about what Charlie Kirk wants. It's not about what other people want out there. And I have friends on both sides of this debate. It's very simple. It's what the American people wanted. And the American people overwhelmingly voted for less immigration and the prioritization of the American children and the American worker, not the American oligarch.
I would take issue with overwhelmingly voted for, because it was the slimmest of majorities. He didn't even get a majority of the population, as in it's 49.9% of the vote is what Trump got. And so I'm not sure that is an overwhelming mandate for whatever Charlie Kirk says here. I mean, within that party, you still have the Republicans who want to see a vibrant economy that might be a big fan of keeping these visas in place. And so actually this is kind of a natural fracture within the Republican movement, or more accurately, I think, a fracture of the MAGA Republicans away from maybe a more fiscally conservative government approach. So you kind of old school Republicans, of which I will put the tech bros in there in terms of what they want to do vis-a-vis employing the right kind of people from abroad, and the MAGA right. That's where the fracture is. So I'm not sure that that Charlie Kirk is right about saying there's an overwhelming mandate for from the American people for this anti-immigrant stance. However, this is a fracture, and as Ron Smith here says, we're witnessing Musk MAGA fallout in real time. I need more popcorn. Just to see a few more reactions, as we heard earlier, Ann Coulter saying American workers can leave a company. Imported H-1B workers can't. Techs want indentured servants, not high-skilled workers. And again, I love seeing MAGA slowly come to realise things about how Elon operates the rest of us have known for years, says Seth Abramson. Elon is telling you he doesn't want Americans for his companies because they're not smart enough, but the real reason is that they're not scared and compliant enough. And here, we're going back to the idea that you've got lots of people whose accounts have been suspended who are critical of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is retaliating against everyone that went against him in the Twitter space, suspending them, seemingly trying to get rid of the evidence. The dude is in full on meltdown mode, says Onion Person. And you can look at these people who have been sort of shut out of Twitter. It's worth also, and we're going to return to this in a second, says here in response to a previous post of his own or her own, Onion Person, Adrian Dittman is Elon Musk's alternative account, alt account. Throughout this, he says things like, you are being racist and you are admitting this, to these Nazis. I can't believe he's actually stunned. He's cultivated a website and culture, an audience of insane reactionary racists, this person says. And we're going to return to the idea of Elon Musk having an alternative account, Adrian Dittman, which is absolutely true by all accounts. But we'll go on to, continue looking at the fact that he has closed people's accounts down. Ron Filikowski saying someone got nuked here in that conversation we saw referenced earlier. Someone else saying Elon is revoking blue checks and several prominent right-wing accounts because they criticize his support for Indian tech worker immigrants. And here we see, wow, the X team is just put my verification under review after calling the new algorithm a shadow ban. So this is, someone else that's otherwise sympathetic. And Laura Loomer has been, look, the blue tick is under review there. So she's had her account restricted and has been complaining about that. And then other people as well. My verification badge is under review. Weird, didn't change anything, etc., etc. Free speech absolutists. Elon Musk appears to have removed the gold badge from conservative OG following a disagreement about H-1B visas. As a result, their affiliated influencers have also lost verification and subscribers. Is this the free speech Elon promised us? And you've got conservative OG complaining about this and showing that their checkmark is under review and all their affiliates therefore affected. And then indeed Laura Loomer, saying Elon Musk has now taken away my character limit, so I can't post longer posts. I paid for premium too. He locked my ability to have premium after taking away my blue check tonight, etc., etc. Free speech champion, closing down anyone that speaks against him. And indeed, this is starting to get on more mainstream media sites. Here's one saying Musk X removes verification from critics, etc., etc. Incredibly dubious behavior. Yoni Escola says MAGA regulars are finally starting to realize that tech bros look down on them and have merely leveraged their support to gain power for the sake of deregulating, lowering taxes and protecting their business interests in China and Russia. I absolutely agree with this position. So my position is that people like Vivek Ramaswamy, but more likely Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and David Sachs, who have been sounding off anti-Ukraine, pro-Russian propaganda for a long time, and have not been critical of Russia, have not been critical of China, have leveraged themselves into a position where they have an inordinate amount of power, and now they're being called out for it. And all they want is that power to gain themselves more money and more power, deregulating the domains in which they operate, and allowing them to continue doing work with China and Russia, getting their natural resources out of both countries. As Yoni Escola continues, tech bros like Musk, Vivek and Sachs have little interest in MAGA regulars and their concerns. They didn't gain power to assist them. Rather, they did it to advance their own interests and benefit themselves. Billionaire tech bros couldn't care less about the average Joe. MAGA regulars are about to realize that they have very little in common with the tech bros they helped elevate to power. Tech bros are billionaires focused on deregulation, lower taxes and appeasing China and Russia to avoid conflict conflicts and protect their business interests. Tech bros also support immigration, as they may be unscrupulous but aren't naive enough to believe that the US can thrive without it. The nation's economic strength has largely been built on steadily increasing population, and this is part of the capitalist not ideology, but capitalism as a framework, an economic system, is that you need to continually grow, and you can either do that by having a growing population, by having a really good birth rate, but in modern advanced economies, that's less likely to be the case, because with that you get greater education, more welfare, and blah blah blah, and as a result your birth rates drop, and you need to still grow your economy. So that's why immigration is an incredibly integral part to thriving capitalist economy. It doesn't have to be, but it is one of the main ways. This is why I think you saw Germany take on a whole heap of immigrants. I think that's why the US has done well over a consistent period of time, because they take immigrants from all over the world, both at the high end, these kind of, in this case, tech people with qualifications that are really well skilled, but also the low skilled across the southern border, and everyone in between. Yeah, that is your huddled masses is what America is well known for, but it is also what largely underwrites a consistently growing economy. And that is what people have been worried about with regard to these changes on illegal and legal migration, and then the inflationary moves of putting tariffs on as well. That could put a real spanner in the works for those expecting Trump to be really good with the economy when he's inheriting an exceptionally well-functioning economy from Biden. Now, MAGA regulars who recognize this, says Escola, and begin to voice their complaints will likely be silenced on X, as evidenced by several accounts being muted and demonetized in the past few hours. Tech bros are in control now, and MAGA regulars will be silenced if needed. Immigration is just one of the many issues that the tech bros in power diverge from Trump's voter base. The coming months and years will be fascinating to observe. Everything is always possible, but a significant rift between Trump and Musk isn't too likely to occur in the near future, and that's what I was sort of talking about earlier. When will that happen? Will it be the near future, or will it be slightly further down the line? As Trump is indebted to Musk and the tech bros who supported him by acquiring X and making substantial donations. They have deals in place. In other words, Trump is compromised by Musk because Musk is largely responsible for getting Trump into power with that money and that platform. When will Trump feel that he's in a position where he can publicly diverge with Musk and it won't cost him too much? Fascinating. It is just like, from an objective viewer, or not necessarily objective, but from an outside third-party viewer like myself, what's happening is fascinating. Yes, there's a whole popcorn because I don't particularly like Trump or Musk, and that's an understatement. But like, it's like you drive past a car crash and you rub a neck to see what's going on. You just can't help but watch. This is one of those, I think, instances. Now, it's also problematic is Elon Musk promised, I don't know if you remember this, I did report on this, he promised to pay $47 to swing state voters who signed his America PAC petition, but they're still waiting for the payment. And this is just the beginning, says Ron Smith. So you've got lots of people complaining about this. So you might have a further rift with those the MAGA right and Elon Musk in this case. And then Mehdi Hassan talking about here Elon Musk having this alternative persona or profile on Twitter. So Musk, like Trump, says Mehdi Hassan, John Barron. So Trump had his John Barron fake persona. Musk has a fake persona that he uses to boost his real one, a lol. So a Reddit thread found the first post made by Adrian Dittman when his account was opened in 2021. It was identical to a response post that Elon Musk made that same day. Interestingly, while other posts from Dittman that week are still visible, that one has now been deleted. And here is, it's not proof, but it's certainly confirmatory evidence that Adrian Dittman is Elon Musk. And actually, there's much more evidence that's come out. This is just someone's gone right back to see the very first post of Adrian Dittman. There's been a voice disguising of Adrian Dittman on, I think, Twitter Spaces. There've been, I think, Musk slipped up. Was it in a conversation with Destiny, the left winger on YouTube? I think that alerted people to this as well. I might need to look into that a bit more. But I mean, it's quite sickening what Adrian Dittman, as Elon Musk has said to Elon Elon Musk. So Elon Musk posts this tweet. My son, little X, loves clinging precariously to my back and yelling monkey rides. To which Adrian Dittman goes, "You're an amazing father, Elon. Your kids are very lucky to have you." And all the evidence suggests that Adrian Dittman is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk replying to himself saying, "You're an amazing father, Elon. Your kids are really lucky to have you." I find that pretty sickening. As James Tate says, Elon Musk has to tell himself he's a good father using a fake profile. So all that's going on along the side. There's all this stuff I think is interesting. I wonder whether Elon Musk's kind of value, his currency, his stocks essentially are devaluing at the moment, as people from both sides of the aisle are being critical of Elon Musk. But he still has Trump on his side. He can still play Trump. How will that relationship develop? How will Trump's popularity be affected by taking the side of Musk over the base? Is this just an online Twitter thing, or has this bubbled out over into mainstream media and into the discourse amongst the rank and file members of the GOP? How are their views affected by all this of both Musk and Trump, etc., etc.? So an awful lot to keep an eye on. It's fascinating. I have eaten my popcorn. This has got even bigger and even worse for both Musk and I think for Trump than when I first reported it yesterday. It has developed. There are more like people like Steve Bannon coming out and absolutely rinsing Elon Musk. That is a proper fracture going on there. Charlie Kirk and Bannon being anti-Elon Musk there, with the kind of rhetoric that you see from Bannon, I think is important. Yeah, one to keep an eye on. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care, guys. Speak to you soon. Toodle pips.